So full disclosure, I've actually been a judge on 4 of these, and yeah, I don't want any questions from Amy. She's tough. All right, let's do some slides. Yeah, these are the toughest questions that we've had yet on a
They are good ones. They are very good ones.
All right, so I don't think we've talked about VCons enough, so we're going to talk about VCons. We're going to talk about VCons some more. We came across what Thomas and team were doing with VCons last year. I think it came across, June, July last year. And when we saw the power of what VCons can do and how it really takes information from across the business, from across the customer scape, and enables you to use that anywhere in any process, it just, so many light bulbs went off. And I think when we look back on 2025, with the apps that are starting to build, the ecosystem that's building out, we're going to see that 2025 was the beginning of a new communications era. So if you look back in 93 with HTML, you look at 99 with SIP, this whole industry lives because of, well, at least part of the industry lives because of SIP. And even going back to 2022 with LLMs, each one of those was a catalyst for a new way of doing business and a new, really a new way to think about and monetize things. And we see 2025 with VCons plus AI plus the ecosystem and all the tools is really being that kickoff to the conversation intelligence era. And there's conversation intelligence apps out there today, but they only do a small fraction. When you ask me about competitors later, ask me about competitors later. They only do a small fraction of what we really should be doing with conversation intelligence. So when we get into 2026, when you've got the entire telco network, you've got all these applications out there creating VCons, we will at some point next year see literally billions of VCons created every day. And as we look at what we need to do from an intelligence perspective and integrating those into business processes, all of those VCons are going to need a place to live. And that's what we've been working on here over the last year, is that conversation intelligence cloud, where if you're a telco, if you're an app vendor and you're creating VCons, those VCons need to get sent into our platform so that we can operationalize them, make them available to the enterprise, make them available to your end customers downstream. So the cloud includes intelligence, it includes media connectivity and security, but most importantly for our space right now, it includes a series of apps that get customers started. Right? This isn't the end goal, but we have to have something to get it easy to get out there and sell to customers and get things kickstarted. And I think as we get that out there, we'll see people really get it and start to build new applications on top of it. So take you through the conversation lifecycle. So we don't care if it's a VCon coming off of an enterprise, a BPO, somebody else. If it's SIP coming off your network, UCaaS, CCaaS, video, email. You guys are working on a fax plugin. Got to have fax. And even social media. So we're even looking at things like Google reviews and turning those into VCons because that's a part of your customer conversation. We're pulling these in and performing our compliance duties on it, right? We're checking for consent. We're redacting and anonymizing information. Quick story, we actually had one of the CSPs early on in this process started sending us their customer data, and we realized as we were analyzing the data that, one, there was never any consent gathered, and two, nobody even knew what was actually happening on the back end. We were seeing personal conversations, all kinds of crazy stuff. So we had to scrub all of their data from our system. And this is really the genesis of the consent controls. So we're looking at making sure that the providers have those consent pieces, the enterprises have those consent pieces in place, but we're also looking at the conversation that if we don't have that indication, we can actually tell whether the agent notified that that call was going to be recorded and used, and that the customer or the caller did not actually remove their consent or ask not to be recorded. And then we're performing all of our intelligence off of it. And then we're getting it out into those usable end user applications. So we've got a series of copilots that are, if you use Microsoft Teams Copilot, that's where the name came from, right? But most companies aren't, especially SMBs, aren't using Microsoft Teams. They're not using copilots. But we wanted to give that same functionality to the SMBs, SMEs of the world. And then we've got Insights Hub, so I'll show you a couple of these pieces, and then it's fully API enabled, right? So once you get these things out there, you as a provider, you and your customers have the ability to integrate with, pull data back out of the system. And the beauty of vCons is everybody's building around vCons. That data that you pull out of our system is immediately usable in all of the other apps that you're working with. So let me give a demo. Does this have audio connected to it? Okay. Okay, well, we'll see. You probably won't complain too much because it's me and my wife reenacting a phone call, if you can't hear it.
Yeah, look, I'm calling because I'm fed up with my bill. This is the third month in a row it's been wrong.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me something's incorrect this time?
There's this $35 service fee again. I already had this removed last month. Why does it keep showing up?
Let me check. Okay, I see. It looks like the automatic billing system didn't update after the adjustment. I can remove it right away.
Well, it shouldn't take me calling every month to get it fixed. If this keeps happening, I'm just going to cancel my policy.
I understand. I'll escalate this to our billing department so it doesn't happen again. And just so you know, I'll mark this for the owner's attention as well.
Good, because seriously, I don't have time for this nonsense.
I hear you. I've credited the $35 back to your account, and you'll see it on your next statement.
All right.
All right, so the awesome thing is ChatGPT actually created that script for me because I asked for a series of scripts. So that was one of the scripts that it gave us. So those calls are coming off of UCaaS platforms. I mentioned our integration with Crescendo and NetSapiens. Off of every phone call, off of every meeting, off of every CCaaS and contact center call, those calls are getting ingested, and we're processing those in our system. And we've been talking a lot about vCons. This is over here. This is what one actually looks like after we take the call and run it through the platform, right? So you've got a ton of stuff. Happy to send you one afterwards or not. But as that comes through our system, so I mentioned a few of the copilots. So we have the first alert copilot, and then we have a call summary copilot that I ran this through. On the first alert copilot, there's two things happening. One, we've got emails going out, right? Because most people, if you're on the road, a salesperson, you're a roofer, a plumber, you're not logging into an app, but you do want to know what's going on with your business. So we had the alert where this customer was obviously angry. They actually threatened to leave if the issue didn't get resolved. So this alert went out to the owner of the company so that they could respond. We also had a call summary. So with our after call piece, you get call summaries afterwards where we pull out the actual tasks that are associated with that conversation, and at the end of every day we send also a recap of everything, right? So again, if you're on the road, if you're a small business owner, you have all of those things that you're in your hand every single day to help you run your business. And then you also have the tool where you can come in and actually track all of the tasks that that have come from your conversation, right? So think about this as a smaller CRM, but if you have a HubSpot, if you have Zendesk or what have you, it's easy to get these pushed up into those tools. And what's really nice is you've got literally every conversation that you've had and every commitment that you've made, you can come back into the application and manage that. And then likewise, for First Alert, I can see everything that's driving issues. So I've got in one spot every issue that's come up, and then I can dive deeper if I need to. And what I talked about adding things in afterwards. So I can also, because I've got all of these conversations coming across the network through my business, I can come through and see what people are asking about. And then a little bit of Demo God's action here, but so I can actually interact with and query my data, right? Because this is all going into a data store. We're vectorizing it, making it available to an LLM. And what's really cool, this is really simplistic, right? Thomas talked about an MCP server earlier. If you've ever used deep reasoning within ChatGPT or Claude, imagine taking every single conversation that you've ever had and being able to run that through and do really complex analysis and also start to do some things around business planning and strategy. It gets really, really exciting when you think about the data in that way. All right, so from a provider perspective, am
1 minute.
Am I out of time? All right, so I'm going long enough so I can't answer questions.
Don't get away that easily.
They figure they want a beer more than they want to ask you a question.
So 3 options to connect. So we're making it really easy for providers to connect in. And then, as Tom Cruise says, show me the money. So what's really cool here is you've got the ability to come in. You're selling UCaaS and CCaaS seats today, adding in the co-pilots, and then adding in the Insights Hub and Script Coach piece that I did not show. And we talked about doubling your revenue. This is an easy way to go through your entire customer base and double your ARPU off of your customers. And that's it.
And breathe.
And
Take a breath. All right. Mike, let's drill in.
Yeah, look, I think I've got one question. I think, look, really interesting technology, and I think interesting because it sits across multiple kind of requirements, routes to market, platforms. How do you scale this quickly and globally? Because I think that's the key to success here.
That's why we're here, right? So we see from a telco perspective an opportunity to reach millions and millions of customers really quickly. You guys have the relationships. We've got the software. It would take years and years and years to go out individually, and that's actually a knock that we've got with the OTP players, where they don't have access to all of the communications that are coming across the telco space, right? So it's kind of a win-win where we're able to deploy our technology and access every call for the enterprise, and you guys can actually reach out to your customers and make that connectivity.
There's, like with some of the AI that's being deployed, there's this like underlying fear that we're creating just like an absolute load of data that might never get used and is expensive to store and is expensive to query, and like, are we really getting the business value out of this? This looks to me like if we're creating billions of VCons, that this is at risk of this problem. So how do you address that?
Yeah. So what we're focused on are those usable experiences, right? That's why you've got that after call co-pilot where it's literally just tell me what I need out of every call every day, right? There's a certain set of customers that are going to want that. What I didn't show is additional dashboards that are tailored to specific users within the business and specific types of businesses, right? So we're able to take out and you don't have to look through. Let's say you have 1,000 calls come through your contact center. You don't have to look through all 1,000 calls. You just want to know the 5 that you need to touch, right? And that's what we're focused on is surfacing those 5 calls because we've already looked through the other 995 and said those are fine, right? So.
Robert, great presentation. you got 30 seconds in the lift with Alison Kirkby, CEO of BT, and you've got the chance to tell her about your proposition. What's your pitch?
Ooh, that's good. So we are creating the intelligence cloud that allows you to take every single call that comes across your network that just gets discarded today. No value whatsoever other than connecting that call, and we allow you to add value on top of that every call because you can now extract insights and monetize that with your customers.
That's cool. How much money am I going to make?
Well, I just showed you're going to make 2.3x what you're making today, right, off of your phone calls.
All right, we've got our first question from the audience.
Uh-oh.
So I haven't voted yet.
Yeah. So no, in Miami in October, you'll see this connected end-to-end with the NetSapiens Crescendo platform. So we're really excited, and we went with that connectivity option 3 with you guys.
I think that was a 5-star demo.
All right, we good? All right, let's give all of our contestants a big hand.